work on a couple projects today that I've been putting off for a good minute because I just didn't really know what I wanted to do with them. But I think I finally figured it out, so I hope you enjoy this video today. We will be transforming this chair that sits at my desk is the first project. The other project that we're going to work on is this magazine rack. So to clean this up, we're going to use my Bissell spot cleaner to just go over everything and make sure everything is good and clean before what we're going to do to it, which is we're going to dye it. I was thinking of painting it, but when you paint the fabric, it does get kind of leather-like. It is still supple, but it's not as soft as the original, and I didn't want to lose that softness. So I figured I would go with a dye this time, and we're going to go with a deep teal because I figured you can go darker blue a lot easier than you could maybe go to pink or something like that. So give it a good clean, and we'll head to the store and pick up some Rit dye. Starting outside with that Bissell cleaner, you're just going to use it the same way that your instructions tell you to. You're going to put the solution in there and clean it. This works really well because it does suck up the water and not leave it so saturated, because you don't want it overly saturated because it takes too long to dry. But it definitely got it really nice and clean. It was a lot cleaner, a lot dirtier than what I thought. Okay, I am literally dripping. It just got done, well, it got done raining about an hour ago, so I thought, well, all right, sun's out, I can get this out here and let it dry. It was the important thing for doing it outside, but y'all, it's hot in the afternoon here. So this came out pretty good. There are a couple spots where there was marker that I haven't quite got out just yet, but I'm going to keep working at it. But other than that, it's looking great. It was a lot dirtier than what I had expected. Yay. So while I have water boiling on the stove right now, the reason for that is because with this type of fabric, I looked at the bottom, it is 100% polyester. So cross our fingers, this is going to work. We're going to be using the synthetic Rit dye. This is meant for synthetic fibers, but to do so, you have to boil it, which means they said it has to be kept at boiling point the entire time you're applying it. So technically, you're not supposed to be doing a chair. It's supposed to be something that you stick in a pot. So I've seen others that have done it, so I think it's going to work. If not, if it still wants to kind of come off, they do have a color setting formula that we'll go ahead and put on afterwards if that doesn't work. So we're going for it. This chair was inexpensive. That's part of the reason why. It was like on clearance and I like the style, so that's why I got it, but I thought I could make the color work, and it just doesn't. So here we go. So I mixed peacock green with sapphire blue. So what I did is I got onto their website, and it gives formulas for all different colors, and you can just pick one that you think is close to what the color you want, and then you go ahead and it gives you a formula. So I checked the box where it says milliliters so that I could then put it on my scale and measure it out. The other thing that I did is I'm doing small quantities because like they said, you need to keep this it needs to keep boiling to set the color. So I'm doing this in really small batches. So I got onto ChatGPT because I couldn't figure out the math. It's really early in the morning. So I got onto ChatGPT and I put in the recipe and I said, can you give me an eighth of this recipe? And it figured out all the calculations for me because I need to get this project going. We should be good to go. So let me just go check to see if that water has boiled yet, and we'll get started. All right, we want to get gloves on. And of course, if it gets on your clothes, that's another thing. I'm going to kick my shoes off because I'll end up dyeing my shoes. I have covered the legs as well. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with those. So you add a drop of dish soap and then your dye right in there. And see, this has already started to cool down. So let's go for it.
And we're just gonna keep brushing it on. It might need more dye. It's not quite as saturated as I want it, but it also is in this bright sun. So there's that. Found kind of keeping the bucket here and going up to capture major drips. So it looks pretty good, but it's not quite the color that I want. It is much too light. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit, make another batch, and make it more pigmented, like more color to water ratio.
Okay, I doubled the recipe and this is looking much better. It's definitely a lot more pigmented and I like it much better. As you can see, the chair doesn't really even look that much different after that first application. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this one works. So while that dye is drying, I have a question for you. I have a big dilemma. I cannot make the decision. This desk behind me is an antique library table. How antique, I'm not really sure. I've tried to look for markings and I'm not really finding a whole lot, which makes me tend to say it's not the highest of quality either. It has been repaired before and there were some amendments made to it before I even purchased it. So I know whatever I do to it, I'm not devaluing it in any way. So there's a crack down the center of the top, which that's what has been repaired before and it didn't work. It failed. It's still cracked. And the longer I've had it, the shelf on the bottom also cracked, which that's repairable. But the gray wash that I had put on it once upon a time and then the walnut up at the top just is not working in here for this space. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Better yet, I know what I would really want, but I'm not sure. And I think it would look fabulous on this piece. But I'm just fearful, and I don't know why. But I would love, love, love a high gloss, soft, soft, soft pink. It would look white to the eye, but it would be just a tinge of like a peachy pink. So it would be a pink that would coordinate with the buffet that's in the back, that's in that deep apricot. But to get it there, I have to, this has got the beautiful tiger oak on top, which kind of kills me to cover up. But I would also have to fill in all of the grain of this oak table. So I came up with a few options that I think might work in this space. Here is the color palette that I'm working with in here. I am bringing in a storage piece, which will be in white. Figured I would do it in white since it's going to have so much junk in it. We'll just kind of keep it simple. I'm also bringing in something on this other side of the desk that will pick up a little more of that apricot in the back as well. That's all I'm going to tell you about it because that's a secret. My question is, here's the three options. Would you do that beautiful high gloss like I talked about and cover everything? Or would you cover everything and do it in the kind of a creamy white, similar to the background of the mural back there, more kind of old world looking like the buffet is? Or would you strip it down and try to lighten the wood a whole bunch? My hesitancy with that is I'm not sure I'm going to get all of the orangey color because originally it was really orange. That's why I have the darker walnut on the top. So I don't know if I'm going to get that out. There's where my dilemma is. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think I should do? All right, let's move on to the magazine rack now. This is super fun, super easy and quick project that I think you're going to enjoy. So come on, let's go work on that magazine rack. Okay, so what I have decided to do is take this
we're going to leave those. We're going to leave the leaves. I thought about trying to take them off, but I'm not going to worry about trying to grind them off or pry them off with pliers and make a big mess. So I think what I'm just going to do is pour some molds with some resin. I bought these cute little butterfly ones. I was thinking they were much bigger. Amazon can be a little deceiving with their measurements. I think they gave me the measurement of this whole thing and not the actual butterfly. But anyhow, so they're a little smaller, but I think they're still going to work for this project. And then I think we'll use kind of this dahlia looking flower on there as well. And that'll kind of, it isn't going to change it a whole lot, but I think it's going to do enough to where it just feels more me. And it's not going to stay gold. I had kind of gone back and forth. I like the gold. There's gold accents in here, but I think it's just too much gold. So I think we're going to change that up as well. So let's pour some molds and get that going.
I'm using the amazing casting resin that dries in 10 minutes. And that's the one, or cures in 10 minutes. That's the one that you need to be sure you're getting. You're going to mix equal parts of part A and part B into a cup, and you're going to stir that thoroughly. This cures, again, in 10 minutes, so you have to make sure you're working quickly. And then you just add that to each one of the molds. You're just going to pour it. I love using the plastic cups because you can kind of squeeze it and pour it in nicely. I'm going to use the popsicle stick and just clean off any pieces that were bubbling over. And then this is a quick version of how it cures. You're just going to touch it to make sure it's not too warm and that it isn't tacky. When it's not tacky anymore, you can go ahead and take it out of the mold. It will be pliable at first, and then as it cures more and cools off, it hardens up more. So if it's something I kind of want to mold around something, I do take it out earlier so that I can get it into that shape. Now we're just going to dry fit everything. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of pattern or design that I'm trying to make with the flowers and where we're going to place them before I actually get the glue out, because I'm going to be using a super glue and I certainly do not want to put them down in the wrong place where I don't want them and then get stuck. So just trying to place it where I wanted it.
Well, after fighting with the super glue for a good minute, it all came out at once. So we're going to work fast, see how far I get. I might be using some other stuff as well. Goodness. I don't know how fast it sets up because I've never used it before. Try not to get it on my fingers would be good, right? Well, I got this far and it's done. So let me go find some more glue and figure this out. All right, we're back in business. At the same time I bought that, I bought this super glue as well. All right, we're gonna let that dry a while before I try to do the other side, because I really don't want to put it face down with all those on it. So gotta figure out what I'm gonna do.
After one side dried, we place the molds on the other, and then I'm now spraying it with some white spray paint. So, surprise, it's going to be white with little pops of color. You'll see in just 1 second. Like this. Lots of everything in my color palette basically in here. So, we'll start with Peony. I said they were dahlias, but I think they're more, I don't know what they are. They're some sort of wildflower, we'll call it that. So they're going to be in the peony pink. So just take an artist brush and paint it on there, making sure you're getting around all of the edges as well so that it looks 3D like it is and not just a flat flower. And then we'll take some flamingo and just add some highlights to the center of each flower. And then each little of the buds we did in the flamingo as well. The flamingo mixed with that pink, I should say, so it was a darker flamingo. And then this flower is flamingo with a little bit of daisy mixed in. And then the next one is going to be daisy, a nice bright yellow. And we'll take some peacock, and that will be the color of the butterflies, at least the majority of the color. We'll add a little bit of green, a little yellow mixed with it so that it causes like kind of a nice minty green in the center, just to give a little bit of depth. And then some Kelly green that I had mixed individually, and we'll do all of the greenery, the stems and whatnot on here. And the entire thing I dry brushed with some white, which is the cotton, so that it worked just nicely. It works perfect for holding my Bible and my journal and everything that when I come in here and sit in the morning, I have everything now readily available and I don't have to go chase it down somewhere. But I like it. It looks antique-y now instead of dated, if that makes any sense. Now back to that chair. Ugh.
Okay, here we are. It's very splotchy, uneven, and it came out way more green than what's even showing up on the camera. So we're gonna let it dry some more because it's definitely it's coming off on my hands, so that's good. And I tried like rubbing it down with a towel, but you know, a damp rag, and that didn't even out the splotchiness at all. So, well, I guess we'll go get some more dye and figure out something out. So I'm out here early this morning and it's looking a little better. I took a spray bottle and some water and a rag and kind of just drenched it a little bit. I thought about using a hose, but I was afraid it would just saturate the foam too much. So it is evening out quite a bit. I'm going to let this dry in the sun and then maybe do that one more time and possibly it'll even out. It is here on the back as well. Much more even here on the back as well. Okay, I'm fighting clouds, but this is much better. So this is after it dried and all of that. It was just too light. It wasn't the color I wanted. So I went back to the store and I bought some teal. And I think that's going to work much better. It looks very blue on camera, at least from my view. So I'm not sure how it's going to transcribe onto your screen, but I'm hoping that this one works out much better. And I found a much better way to dry it. The sun was great, but putting it in front of a fan is actually much better. So continue the same process again, just with a new color.
Well, the patience paid off. It is the perfect color. It isn't the most even, I will say that, but it's fine for what I'm using it for. Would I use it to sell or give to someone else? No, I wouldn't, because it does come out kind of blotchy. But the part that's actually going to be seen above my desk is beautiful. The part that I sit on is the part that's blotchy. So I'm not worried about it. But it is now the perfect color. And I did put the color stay on there as well so that it won't be coming off, because it was coming off on my hands a little bit. So now on to the next project to clear some of this clutter that is around this room and making it much more functional and, of course, beautiful at the same time. But first, we'll take a trip outside for another outdoor project. So join us next week for the next video.